There are a few constants in esports, but one of the few constants is this. Sentinels and 100 Thieves will play each other a lot, and normally Sentinels will get the better of that matchup. But this year, 100 Thieves are different. They've been a team that, to be quite honest, other than their Masters run in 2024, have just been mid. The upper tier of mid for sure, but a middle-of-the-pack team is something you never ever want. I think 100 Thieves this year have made the right moves to get out of the purgatory of being a mid team in esports, and they proved it here by 2-0ing Sentinels. Now, is this the best Sentinels roster we've seen in a couple years? No, in fact, it might be on the other end of that spectrum right now. However, 100 Thieves beating them is still a huge accomplishment, and how they're doing it is something we really want to dive into right here. They're playing Waylay more than anyone else. Timotino is probably the best Waylay, in my opinion, in all of VCT Americas, maybe not counting AssPass, and has 99 more rounds on the agent than anyone else. In this video, we're going to dive into how 100 Thieves have been able to make these changes and beat Sentinels. Really quickly, if you guys would subscribe, it would mean a ton. My birthday's in like 46 or 45 days, and I'm trying to get a 10K before then, so hit that subscribe button. It's free, and let's get into it. And it all starts here on Sentinel's bonus round. It's a 4-1 for 100 Thieves, and the big thing of this round is 1, the mid gap, and 2, this A fight. If Sentinels are able to get the kill on the cryo, they can reinforce the mid gap with a rifle and the numbers advantage and have a decent chance at winning the round. Unfortunately, and this is also a massive aspect of 100 Thieves' success, cryo is finally in a meta where he can play agents he's comfortable with. Normally, this means Chamber, and he has one of the best Chambers in VCT Americas, but he's also pretty solid on Viper, gets the kill on Redux, and is even able to get healed from the damage he took. Now, look at this mid gap, right? Narrate was here, and the Viper was actually B Heaven, but both have moved. Narrate to try and refight into this A if someone's going to come back, and the Viper just to reinforce the B site. This means that not only do 100 Thieves have the numbers advantage, there is a massive, massive gap to exploit that's making this Viper nervous. You can see he's looking back up. He's scared because he knows this gap exists. But when Sentinels kill Cryo, there's that little bit of hope that is quickly eliminated by the call. Now, Ozempic Boostio, otherwise known as Vora, has been a really, really solid caller, and every good team needs a great IGL. There are no teams that make it and win internationals without an insanely solid IGL. Vora has been that for 100 Thieves. He's been clutch, which is not only great for IGLs, but great for initiator players because they're often put in those clutch situations. And then, of course, there's Timotino. Right? This guy is probably the best Waylay player, second to possibly AssPass in VCT. He has the mentality you need on Waylay. Some players, not naming any names, don't have that mentality that you need. But he absolutely does. Probably the most played Waylay in all of VCT thus far. I know he's the most in Americas by a long margin. But the call ends up working out. 100 Thieves aware of the gaps, and they get this round. And then they slowly start to win. 100 Thieves are so good at working the map, but what makes this possible is that in the early round, they're already thinking about what could stop us in the late round. Let me explain here. They use this little fake on B. They throw a flash, a smoke, and Timotino's refract, but it pulls out the two best pieces of stall utility on B in the Viper Molly and the Paranoia. With that, now if you go into B with time low, which they do, they're not going to have those two really important pieces of stall utility, right? Redux has his flashes, which can stall, but that's about it for the on-site players right now. You're going to have to throw bodies on the line. After the initial engagement, in fact, when they do start to head over and get the kill on Cortesia, so the Molly technically wouldn't have mattered, but I digress. When they get the kill on Cortesia and then go back towards B, look at what happens. Time is really low. Like 20 seconds is pretty low time here. They're right outside, but you don't have this paranoia you may have had from John, right? If Viper was alive, who knows how the round would have played out, but if he was alive, you wouldn't have the spit either. Redux here gets full blinded back sight, and then they do get in a pretty good spot here. Sentinels do. 3v2 scenario, right? 14 seconds left. Bomb is still back here, but it doesn't end up mattering. Redux, if you'll notice with the timing, he could have technically gotten a kill onto Vora. Vora's not looking at him, but he ducks back to flash and Vora kills Caillou, and then just an unfortunate series of events for him on that fight. John is on site here, but he's not able to clutch it on 30 HP. There are not many who could. And so again, 100 Thieves, again, I think I've said again 5 times, by the way, I apologize. But you need a good IGL to execute anything properly. 100 Thieves know how they want to play, and they know how to play this style. Vora has been somehow still underrated after these 2 weeks. I'm hoping as the season goes on, he won't be anymore because he truly is an amazing caller. Two huge factors at figuring out how good an IGL is their pacing. Are they able to throw off the pace? And the conditioning. Do they do condition things effectively and then exploit the things that they have conditioned on the other team? Caillou does both here. They've had super slow rounds. So, alright, let's go ahead and do a faster round. But wait, why is everyone not coming towards B, you might be asking? That's because what normally would be enough to draw rotations in that flash and seeing the duelist player isn't, because 100 Thieves have conditioned them that they're going to take this B main space, and in fact, they did almost this exact same thing a couple of rounds ago with the Bang, Smoke, Flash, and then Timatino being here. So Sentinels aren't 100% sure that it's even a B hit, but they do rotate one player over, and then, aware of the gaps, they have Cryo lurk at this gap. They have two people anchoring over here because A, they're not 100% sure it's a B hit, and B, Cryo's utility is scaring them. They don't want him to get a timing there. He's getting a timing here as the B hit comes in. So finally, they end up having someone rotate over from A after the Sage Res and Wall, and then the only gap that actually does exist on the map that has existed since like 10 seconds into the round because Viper rotated over early, now is going to be exploited. And that's not on Viper by any stretch of the imagination. They needed reinforcements on site, but unfortunately, 100 Thieves just read them like a book. Like, this is insanely good calling and understanding of what the reaction to your game plan is going to be from Sentinels. Great stuff from 100 Thieves. Give Vora his flowers. Great player. However, like I've said, this Sentinels roster has definitely seen better days. It's not a great look when you have 3 ults that you use in a round, and you only get value from one of them. And even that value is worse than what it could have been. Let me explain. So right here, it's a really simple ramp rush for 100 Thieves here. They go ahead and just try and scale in a little bit. It is a funny little note that the cabbage breaks the wall they just placed because it's searching for narrate, but right here, the first ult you obviously saw was a mid pit. It had no impact on the round. The second ult is a fade ult before the bomb is even down. And this is, to put it kindly, inoptimal. Sentinels can't do anything off of this. It gets them the rough marker of Cryo's position 20 seconds before they're actually able to scale into the bomb site. This ult was useless and did nothing. Then they used the Yorul, but they used the Yorul up in heaven. They didn't wait for him to scale, even though he could have. He could have scaled into the pit, then they combo with Narrow Waylay ult, and then you could actually kill the Viper. Do something, accomplish something. Instead, they clear out heaven and then go on site. I apologize, they did use 4 ults. The Narrate ult finally got in, but because you have no info on the pit, because you decided to pop the Yorul ult for heaven instead of flooding into site, and then, like I said, ult comboing with Waylay ult, Waylay has no idea what to do. Narrate dies, as he has so often on Waylay, and then 100 Thieves simply demolish them in the pit. This video could have very easily also been a what's wrong with Sentinels-esque video, and I may make one of those because this is just not good Valorant at all. It is very difficult to believe that this is one of the top organizations in NA when they are playing like this. I apologize for skipping so far ahead, but I really want to talk about these last 2 overtime rounds, and I'm on a bit of a time crunch. So, I love the attack calling. They ended the half 8-4, and quite honestly, it could have been even better for 100 Thieves, but once they get into overtime, a new switch is flipped here. I've talked about this mid gap that was present for Sentinels a ton of the time, whether it be Viper towards B and no one was in Vents, or the Vents player or the Heaven player just rotated too early. This time, they actually forced the Vents player off. The reason that Sentinels aren't comfortable here is because of how good the utility can be layered and layered to punish a Vents player. So their comp allows this weakness to exist, right? The 100 Thieves comp allows this weakness to be very present, and they exploit it here in overtime. Timatino gets inserted mid, they go way back over towards A, hitting the weak site, and they are already, by the way, Redix has a TP for here, and I think, I believe there was someone on Plat Chat, I can't remember, I don't watch Plat Chat, but there was someone on Plat Chat, I saw a clip who said people's Yoru macro is not that great. This one, right, the original TP was towards A, but when he was trying to take this space in this aggressive TP, he didn't want to go back and replace it because he's trying to go aggressive. So this isn't one of those situations where it's just like a terrible macro. It's, you know, he just didn't want to go all the way back. He's trying to take the space because now the A players, you can see them pinging out the gap. No, it's probably towards A. Sentinels also are sending John over here as well. But unfortunately for them, 100 Thieves are ready, and this mid insert is going to pay dividends almost immediately. The second 100 Thieves start to execute, Cortezia can't get the kill on Tavora. I don't mean to shed on him, but I do feel like he's been a pretty underwhelming pickup. I mean, I saw people saying that Cortezia to Sentinels and Zekin to MIBR were like the same caliber of player, so not not exactly, although Zekken has been underwhelming as well, though I think that was a playstyle thing. Regardless, right? They're going to go ahead and just, you can't always have an eye on vents, right? You have two players heaven, you think they're running up at you heaven, you can't have a player just looking vents. And so, timing taken, Timotino gets one, but he's not done, right? He dashes out, uses the waylay perfectly, right? And this is why I say that statistically, I don't think he's like the best by the numbers at waylay, but stuff like this is stuff other players do not do. You have to be very selfless on waylay. A lot of the time you're just going to die, but a lot of the time you can bait for your teammate, pull crosshairs, and bang, Asuna gets that kill, effectively securing you the round because you're able to get in a post plant with a Sage and then go there. But Timotino is going to continue to secure. Right now, Narrate's ready. He's waiting. He tries to go in, backs out, and he knows at any point he could be backstabbed by Timotino. Right? You can see, I mean, he is terrified of this lurk, but doesn't get a good timing. Right? Timotino understands when he needs to peek, goes down, goes up, and then the smoke timing is going to get abused. He kills both of them for the flawless in overtime, right? Bang, bang. Waylay ults Redux, who, to his credit, he was trying, man. 33 kills already. But now, on to the final round. And I know a bunch of people complained that I didn't use the last round of the Demon 1 video, so here you go. I'm going to show you the last round here. And it's a really slow start for Sentinels. They're going to do a 3-2 here and have their Viper and Omen over towards A. They're just waiting for any aggressive pushes, any information at all. Timotino, he's on Waylay, right? He's able to make those aggressive pushes. I'll die on the hill that, personally, Waylay is probably the most fun agent for me on defense. But obviously not going to play Waylay a lot in ranked or anything because I just don't have that mentality that guys like Timotino have. But with this, he pushes down mid off of his own Viper Orb. He's just waiting. He's got the refract. There's not that much risk. Goes, dinks up the Fade a little bit, and comes back. But, and this is the important thing, Sentinels continue to wait, and wait, and wait, and wait, and wait. This can be a death sentence if you don't do what 100 Thieves was doing earlier and drain the utility from them, right? But look, Cryo's still got his molly, Bang's got a lot of utility, right? They all still have their utility. So when this hit finally starts to form on A at around 40 seconds, then the time is still low. Look at how slowly they scale. 30 seconds, right? They're going up heaven. 25, they're trying to deal with Timotino, who's stalling himself, right? Now 20, he goes out, Vora dies for him right there, and now 19 seconds, still not on the site. There's two defenders on site here. Like, this is not a good spot to be in, right? Narrate has to sacrifice himself. 15 seconds, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, and the lower the time gets, this is why I think a lot of people get confused when people say they lost the round on time. They're like, no, they actually, you know, they got the bomb down. What do you mean they lost on time? No, because when you lose to time, it can be literally you did not plant the bomb in the time required, or it can be you had to do one thing or two things. Like your options became limited because time was so low. This is one of those cases. They couldn't flesh out Cryo from behind screens, right? They knew he was there. Right? I'm sure if you win the comms video, they would know he was there. He was on site. He showed his presence. He was shooting, right? He's in there, seen by Narrate, but they don't have the time to actually flush him out, right? John has to stick this plant. Time is too low. So then, right here, he just wins the round for them. Swings, bang. Hey, I'm going to kill you too. Bang. Speaking of bang, got his revenge on Sentinels, which is pretty nice. I think he fits on 100 Thieves a lot better, not only stylistically, but it just makes sense in my head. And also, he did not look great on Sentinels at international events. But that's all for me today. If you like my content, make sure to subscribe. Still trying to hit 10K. Click on one of these videos if you think you would like that video too. And I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Peace.